if you love talking. I know I certainly do. Growing up, I always had to be the loudest in the room. I always had to sing a song, make a joke, or respond, even if people weren't talking directly to me. I always thought that speaking up or always having a response would make me look more like a leader. But that was until I realized that sometimes being a leader means taking a step back and listening to those around you. Being a leader doesn't mean that you always have to have an answer. It just means that you need the humility to listen to others and learn from them too. Listening seems like such an easy concept. You stay quiet long enough for them to say their piece, you think about what they said, and then you form a response. But how often do we actually think about what someone else said for more than just a few seconds? Listening to others and truly hearing what they have to say is simple, but it is not easy. It is so effortless to get caught up in our own trials and forget that sometimes the most impactful experiences come from listening to others and letting them confide in you. Let's each think about a time when someone came to talk to you and you were too focused on how it related to you or what you were going to say in response to truly hear what they were trying to tell you. What would it be like if we actually took a minute to try and understand what others are saying and feeling? What lessons could you have learned if you had focused all of your energy on them? During our state officer year, one of our first big events is the Wyoming FFA Leadership Camp. How many of you in the crowd have been to FFA camp? FFA camp was truly one of the most life-changing experiences that I have ever had. The people I met, the things I learned, and of course, the amazing food have all played a huge role in shaping who I am today. But at the beginning of the first week of camp, I didn't really know what to expect being on the state officer side of things. I always thought that I would have to know the answers to questions or say the right things. But as the first week of camp went on, I met a member who changed my mind about that idea. This member and I talked a lot during this week of camp. One afternoon, we were sitting down, hanging out, and we started to have a serious conversation. And I realized that it was hard for him to tell me some of these things, but he chose to anyway. And that was when I began to realize that just as much as talking is a part of being a leader, so is listening. So I just sat with him and I listened, making sure that he knew that I was listening and trying to understand what he was telling me. At the end of the week, I received a note, or what we like to call at camp, a happygram. And this happygram read, "I want to thank you for being a guide for me this whole camp. Your outlet of positive energy, no matter what, has made this camp experience amazing. No matter what, you have made sure that I was okay and were always listening. Words can't describe how much of an impact you have made." After receiving this message, I realized that genuinely listening to people who come to you makes just as much of an impact as giving the best advice. Leadership isn't always about having the best ideas or always having a response. It is often about taking a step back and listening to those around you. Throughout this year, I have noticed too many times where I immediately jump to have a response without fully processing what the other person was trying to tell me. What would it be like if we listened with our whole hearts rather than just waited for our chance to respond? So, when listening to others, be present. Use engaging body language, allow for silence, and listen to understand and not to react. Then, when you go to respond, pause and collect your thoughts and be slow to answer. That's it. If collectively we can do this, we can each become better listeners and leaders. The value of being heard is bigger than we think. As humans, listening builds trust and connection and gives us a sense of belonging. So, when listening to others, be more intentional about how you are engaging with them. James chapter 1, verse 19 says this, "Know this, my beloved brothers, be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger." Leadership is not always about talking. It is often about giving others the opportunity to grow and growing alongside of them. Having the humility to focus on others before yourself often produces the greatest growth. So Wyoming FFA, take the time to sit and listen. You never know how much someone else needs to be heard or how their story could impact you.